Okay, so welcome everybody. So the US and China will shape the rest of this century, and their relationship already affects the world. So competition between the US and China is unavoidable, but the real issue is it going to be guided by understanding or by suspicion? So I lived in China for 4 years, and my perspective on China changed through daily life in the country. So understanding China today matters more than ever. It influences decisions, policies, and how people in both countries relate to each other. And you don't need to agree with China to make sense of it. But in the past, China felt distant, abstract, very far away. But today, its presence touches almost everything in our daily lives, like manufacturing, for example, phones, electronics, clothing, and countless everyday products are made in China. It's hard to escape. Also, Chinese cuisine is everywhere, from restaurants, Chinese American restaurants in almost every town in America, to snacks and even beverages like bubble tea. Also, many popular games are developed, or at the least influenced, by Chinese companies like Black Myth Wukong, among others here, or shaped by trends in the Chinese market. Also, platforms like TikTok started in China and now influence global culture. Also, Hollywood and Chinese co productions or Chinese films reaching global audiences. They also show China's cultural reach. So, China isn't just a faraway concept anymore. It is now a part of everyday reality, and its influence touches what we buy, what we eat, what we play, and what we watch, even if we don't always notice. And recognizing this integration helps explain why China's rise matters economically and politically. And also, China's economic and technological growth didn't just happen by chance. It's the result of decades of planning, reforms, and deliberate experimentation. So, take infrastructure, for example, China's high speed rail network, its large scale city planning, its major energy projects. Most that took decades to plan out. Also, China's industrial policy has been for its government to support key industries while maintaining stability, which has also enabled China to advance very quickly. And also, China has positioned itself as the world's factory intentionally in order to boost its economy rapidly here. And recognizing the strategy and persistence behind China's rise helps you make sense of the world that we live in today. So, this isn't about praising the system, it's about understanding how deliberate choices shaped China's position here. And understanding the strategy behind China's growth shows why US assumptions didn't exactly line up with reality. And for decades, many in the US assumed that economic engagement with China would lead to adopt a system more like America's. So the idea was that trade, investment, and exposure to Western ideas would gradually encourage political change. So, US politicians and businesses sold China industrial tools, machinery, and expertise that helped it modernize quickly. So, at the time, it did seem reasonable. In other parts of the world, economic growth often went hand in hand with political reform. But China's system has deep historical roots stretching back thousands of years. It hasn't been democratic as we know it in the West, but rather more centralized and authoritarian in a way many Westerners would recognize. So, from China's perspective, modernization was about strengthening the country and maintaining stability, not necessarily adopting Western political models. Economic modernization did not automatically create political convergence with the West. So, the lesson here is that good intentions alone don't guarantee outcomes. Understanding a country's history and context is just as important as engaging with it economically. So for us today, it shows that even well-intentioned actions can have unexpected consequences if we misread the system or its history. And recognizing these misaligned assumptions helps explain why current tensions exist and why understanding China is more important than ever before. How Americans understand China affects decisions, policies, and interactions. Misunderstanding can lead to unnecessary suspicion, poor policies, missed opportunities for cooperation, and even, possibly in the worst cases, escalate tensions toward conflict. So, for example, economic impact, the products you buy, the prices you pay, the availability of goods you rely on are influenced by China's role in global supply chains and trade. Also, decisions between the US and China can affect travel rules, job markets, investments, even your local community. Also, how Americans and Chinese people interact in business, online, or while traveling is shaped by assumptions and misunderstandings on both sides. And misunderstandings don't just stay in the news, they ripple into real world choices and consequences. So, overestimating or underestimating China's intentions can affect military planning, trade restrictions, and diplomatic strategies that impact daily life. So, getting a clearer view of China does not mean agreeing with everything. It means making better decisions and understanding the world more accurately. So, understanding China, it's practical, not ideological. It shapes policies, business, and everyday interactions. And knowing China's history, strategy, and its systems helps put today's headlines, debates, and tensions into perspective. And this is why awareness and informed engagement matter. So, knowing China is essential. It shapes the choices we make, how we relate to each other, and the future between our countries. And misunderstanding can lead to unnecessary tension or missed opportunities. And again, you don't have to agree with China's choices to understand them. Seeing the strategy, history, and perspective behind its rise helps you make sense of the world we live in today. And understanding China helps you to think critically, engage responsibly, and avoid letting assumptions drive outcomes. And the better we understand each other, the less chance there is for conflict, and the more room there is for cooperation in business, culture, and daily life. And that'll be it for today. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching my first commentary video on China. Please don't forget to subscribe my channel, and I will see everybody for the next time.